For level 1, you have to choose at least 4 of these problems. You can do more if you feel like you need to practice, or if you like them, you can do more. It asks us to solve for the variable and show the balance. If you do not have the balance, they will not be correct. So here we have a pod. We're trying to get G by itself. So we're moving 92 to the other side. So we have 92, so we want to do the opposite, which is take them away. So if I subtract 92 here, then I need to subtract 92 here. So this one cancels out, so we're left with G. And that equals, so 5 minus 2 is 3. And then 14 minus 9, so we're at 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 is 5. So let's see if that makes sense. So we have 90, we're adding on 50, about 140. So that makes sense there. So G equals 53. Okay, I'm going to try a subtraction one now. So I'm just going to do this one right down here. So this time we have n that we're trying to get by itself. And I've got to do the opposite to both sides. So we have negative 64, or taking away 64. So the opposite is to add 64. So that ends up canceling out. We had negative 64. We added 64. Now we're at 0. We have nothing left on that side except for the n. And if I add 64 on this side, I also have to add 64 to the other side to keep that balance. So 5 plus 4 is 9. And then 2 plus 6 is 8. So thinking, right, this is about 90 minus about 65. That gives me 25. So n is 89. So you pick 2 other ones that you would like to try here. So you have to pick 4. I helped you with 2. You need to finish and try these on your own. Let's go to the next level. So this time we have to choose at least 3 of these. We're going to solve for the variable and we have to show balance. So I will do 2 of them with you, and then you need to pick a 3rd one to try on your own. So I'm going to try this one here. So I want G by itself. So I'm moving 16.5 to the other side. G by itself. So we have 16.5. They're positive, so the opposite of that is to take them away. And then take them away on the other side. I need to make sure I'm lining up my decimals. This is 34.0. So this side cancels out, so we're left with G. And that equals 0 minus 5. We cannot do that, so we're borrowing. 10 minus 5 is 5. My decimal comes straight down. 3 minus 6 we can't do, so we're borrowing again. 13 minus 6 is 7. And 2 minus 1 is 1. G equals 17.5. So this is about 17 plus 17 is 34. So that makes sense. So G equals 17.5. And I'm going to do one more. I will do this one here. So we are looking to get Y by itself. So I'm moving 14 to the other side. So look for the variable, do the opposite to both sides. So this is minus 14. So the opposite is to add 14 to both sides. So we have 14.0 lining up those decimals. It's not 1.4. 14.0, line up your decimals. So this side cancels out. I had negative 14 plus 14, that gives me 0, so I'm just left with Y. And that equals, we are adding these on, 8 plus 0 is 8. Decimal straight down, 7 plus 4 is 11. 1, 2, 3. So let's see if that makes sense. We have about 31. We're taking away 14, right? That's closest to 15. 30 minus 15 is 15, or a little bit more, 17.8. That seems to make sense though. So find the variable, do the opposite to both sides, check if it makes sense. So go ahead and pick one other of these problems to do. And we have level 3. You are solving all 3 of these. So you have to write the algebraic. Oh, sorry, that should say equation, write the algebraic equation, and then solve for the variable. You should have two parts to this. You should have an algebraic equation. That means you have a variable in the equation. I know lots of us get tempted to solve them. Nope, we are just writing the equation with the variable. Then we are solving for the variable. So Ava has collected 58 cans of food for disaster relief. Her goal is to collect 200 cans. Write and solve an equation to show how many more cans C. So I need to use 56, I need to use 200, I need to use C, and it says an equation, I need an equal sign. So those are the things I have to have. Now we need to decide what are we doing with them. So this is what she has. She has this much. And this is her goal. This is her total. So that's like the answer. So we want to know how many more of that she's doing. Now there's a couple ways we could write this. It doesn't matter which one you do, but you have to have one of them that's correct. So we could take 56 and I can add on C, right? 56, and she needs this many more. She needs more. She needs C more. And that's going to equal a total of 200. 56 plus however many cans she needs to equal a total of 200. Now, because it is an addition problem, we could also write it the opposite as a subtraction problem. We could take her total 200. And I can take away the 56, or I could take away the cans. It won't matter. So I could take away the cans, and that's going to equal 56. Or I can just say if I do 200 and I minus 56, that's going to tell me how many cans I need. So I know lots of us can solve this, 200 minus 56. And you want to put the answer here, but it says write an algebraic equation. An algebraic equation has a variable in it. That's the algebra part of it. So either one of these that I do will give me the answer. So now you need to solve and tell me, what does C equal? How many cans does she need? So if I do 200 and I minus 56, that will tell me the cans. So you're going to finish that up. Okay, the next one says Mary compares the height of two trees. Write and solve an equation to find the height h of the trees. So we have the two trees. We have 45. And we know this one is 12 more, right? This one is 45 and this is 12 more. It got bigger, right? We're adding that on and that will tell us the height of the trees. So we're trying to find out how tall is this tree. So we know this one's 45. I want to know this one. We're going to call that H. This is going to be H. What is the height of this tree? So here we have 45, and we know we're getting 12 more. So we can take 45, we can get 12 more, and that will tell me the height of that tree. I could also do 12 plus 45 equals H. Right? Every time there's 4 equations that you can write. So because we have adding, we also have subtracting. So we have the total. So our total is H. And we are going to take away this difference here, right? This is the difference here is 12. If I take away the difference, that should leave me with 45, this other tree. Or I can take the height of the tree, I can take away the other tree, and that will leave me with the difference of 12. So now I'm going to solve and I'm going to say, what does H actually equal? So these 3 equations are all true. And they all are going to have the same answer. We need to solve and see what H is. This one is the easiest to solve because H is already by itself. This one I can do, and I can move 12 to the other side, which would be plus 12 and plus 12, but then we're just doing 45 plus 12. So if you have an equation where the variable's already by itself, that's the one you want to use. So 45 plus 12 equals H. So go ahead and solve and see how tall is this other tree. Okay, our last one tells us that Jerry has 2 dogs. The older one weighs 95 pounds. We have a dog that weighs 95 pounds, and they're combined. Ooh, that's an addition word. So we know we have a dog that's 95, and they are combining together to make 120. So it's not 95 plus 120. The other dog is not 120 pounds. Together, they weigh 120 pounds. Write and solve an equation to find the younger dog's weight, D. D for dog. So this is our total. 120 equals the two dogs put together. The first dog is 95. And then the other dog, we don't know yet. I know we can figure it out, but that's not what it asked us to do. It said write an algebraic equation is D. When it gives you a variable, you have to use the variable. So that's one way to do it. Or we can do it another way. We can take the total. We can, right, the opposite of add is to subtract. We can take away the bigger dog, and we can see how much does this dog weigh. Because that's what we would do here. To get D by itself, the opposite of plus is minus 95. Minus 95, 120 minus 95 equals D. I could also do 120 minus the little dog to equal the big dog, 95. And then I'd have to still get D by itself. So this equation right here is our simplest one because the variable's already by itself. So now your job is to go ahead and solve and tell me what is the answer to D. How much does that dog weigh? So it's asking for two parts. Write the equation and then solve the equation. They are two separate things. I do not just put the answer in here. I don't replace it. We're not substituting. They are two separate steps. Write the equation, solve for the variable.